Okay, welcome to video 3 of our lockdown flexibility series. If you've done videos number 1 and 2, you should be hopefully getting used to how we do things here. We're going to launch right into it today, so all you need is a sofa or a bed. So I've got rid of the clear plastic chair just because it's a little bit narrow for what we need it for. So a sofa or a bed or a wider chair will do great for that. A soft surface to do most of our mobilizations on, and then also possibly a towel, a rolled up towel or a yoga block. I've got a wedge that I'm going to use, but I'll show you what you may need that for later on. So let's get started. So mostly on the hips on this one. So we're actually going to start off with what's called a prone frog stretch. So what I want is you're going to be lying down onto your belly. And what I want you to try to do is to try to get the soles of your feet together. And once you've got the soles of your feet together, I want you to try and squeeze your bum, squeeze your glutes, and push your hips down into the floor in that position. And then once you're in that position, I want you to try and drop your toes towards the floor without letting your hips come off the floor. So you can see I've not got an awful lot of movement there, which is fine. Now, if I relax and allow my hips to come up, so let's move a little bit away from that box, but if I relax, allow my hips to come up, I've actually got quite a lot of movement through there, but I'm trying to keep my hips down throughout that movement, so I'm going to try and keep just that little pulse. Now there is another way to do this one, but I'll show you that in round number 2, which is a much wider position. So if you find this one's just too uncomfortable, because what it can cause, make a little bit of cramp through the glutes, through the bum muscles, pushing your hips down into the floor throughout the movement. This is good. Again, making sure you keep breathing throughout that movement. Should never be so difficult that you have to hold your breath. But we're coming up close to that minute, so prepare for number 2. Number 2 is going to be a rocking butterfly stretch. So again, we get ourselves into our butterfly stretch. Number 1, we bring our heels in as close to the groin as we can, or as close to the bum. Number 2 then, what I want you to do is bring your belly button towards your heels, so using your feet to anchor yourself. And all we want to do is just try and keep the knees as close to the floor as we can. Gentle rock from side to side. We're going to do a full minute on each exercise. Now again, my timings might not match up exactly to a minute. If you want to pause, if you want to spend some extra time in each position, that's absolutely fine. If you find one stretch is more effective than the others, use that stretch. This is good. So again, I'm going to go back into that prone frog stretch, but this time we're going to come into a wider position, a much wider position. So this time the feet won't be together, the feet will actually be as wide apart as possible. Okay, we're going to swap over, so we're back to exercise number 1. Now if you like that one with the soles of the feet together, that's fine. Otherwise, we're going to try and get the insides of the knees to the floor. The inside of my feet, or the instep, is on the floor, and all we're trying to do is try and rock back till you feel that stretch. Now again, this is probably a nemesis of mine, so I again don't have a huge amount of movement in this position. You may be able to sit back further, a lot more comfortably. If you can, that's great, use that. But again, you should hopefully be able to do that comfortably. Again, in this one, places a little bit of torsion, a little bit of tension laterally through the knee. So if you do have any previous knee injuries, and you do have any pain, as always, ease off. Skip this one. None of this is compulsory. What we're trying to do is find a few moves that are effective. Last couple of seconds on this one, and then we're going to go back to that rocking butterfly. So from there, we come in, and again we go soles of the feet together as close to the groin as you can, securing the body in that position, knees out, and then what we're going to try to do is try and keep the knees down and just rock from side to side, just actively trying to press the knees to the floor each time. Good. What you may find, because it is the night after bonfire night, because this is being recorded, you may find a few bangs and pops and whistles in the background. Or you may hear James motivating the online class from out on the gym floor. Either one of those is possible. So good, just check that timer because I don't have my timer on the wall today. Again, just breathing steadily throughout, trying to keep yourself forward as much as you can. Good. Coming up on that minute. So we're going to come up into a 90-90 crush. So what we're going to try and do is try and create a 90-degree position through the hips. You may be able to see my shin straight across at 90 degrees to my knee, which is 90 degrees to my hip. The back leg is the same position, so it is 90 degrees out, 90 degrees back. Now, what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to try to crush this knee to the floor, so I'm going to try and keep this pressed down. I'm going to try and trap something underneath this knee. And what I want you to try to do while I'm trying to keep that knee down is try and open up the other leg whenever you've got as far as you can. Now again, you may be more flexible than me, that's fine. Probably preferable if you're more flexible than I am. Once you can no longer keep that knee down, so I'm probably reaching my range about there, I'm going to open up from there. I'm going to pivot across to the other side, doing the same thing on the other side. So this knee comes to the floor. Try and keep this leg elevated for as long as I can. And then from there, press that knee into the floor and reverse the movement. Now because we're going to do both sides through the same motion, we're not going to spend 1 minute, we're going to spend 2 minutes because we're doing both sides at the same time. So again, that knee comes down, this leg follows, pressing this knee into the floor, and then finishing off that move with that little bit of a lean over. Come back up, I'm still pressing that knee into the floor, coming back up. Can no longer keep it down, so then I'm going to pivot. Could probably do with a different mat in that position. So now I'm trying to press my left knee into the floor. Again, finish it off with that little bit of a crush. Come back again. This will probably take me close to the 2 minutes. So again, keeping that knee down as long as I can. Open up across the middle. Knee down, start crushing it into the floor. Follow in and crush. Good. So from there, we then come into our elevated pigeon pose. So we're going to try and get our shin 90 degrees across the top of the mattress or the top of the sofa. Maybe I've got this box, I've just put a bit of a blanket on it just to soften it ever so slightly. But then from there, I'm just trying to drop down. This is a single-sided one. So we're going to hold this one 30 seconds per side. Again, if you want to, you can lean over the top, add a little bit extra into it, which is why a bed might suit better, because obviously the sofa is at the back there. You won't be able to lean forward. So I'm trying to keep my hips quite low. Trying to lean forward into it. I'm up on about 30 seconds. I'm going to extend it a bit. I'm going to go for around about 45 seconds. Again, steady breathing throughout. This is good. Okay, from there, coming forward, stepping up, and we're going to repeat the same thing on the opposite side. Again, dropping my hips down. Trying to lean forward into it. You may find one side tighter than the other, don't worry. fairly normal, but it can be something for you to work upon. Again, holding that stretch, so we're really trying to externally rotate the hip as much as possible. So we're just getting you used to moving with week 1. Week 2, we're going to start to push that a little bit more. Week 3, we tend to mix it up a little bit more, you allow it to flow a little bit better. And then week 4 is our sort of peak week, for want of a better description. Good. Ease up. From there, we'll go for just one more 90-90 crush on each side. Again, if you want to pause a little bit longer, let's do it. Let's do it this way so that you can see from a different angle. So again, I'm trying to press right knee into the floor, so crush down. From there, I'm trying to open up my left knee as far as it will go. Again, not very far, still trying to crush this down into the floor. Open right up as I come across. Oh, kind of got my angle slightly wrong there, but it'll work. So my left knee is now being crushed down into the floor just off screen. Right knee starts to come up. Up, up, up. That's about as far as I can go. So I start to open the movement up. Something tells me YouTube is going to choose that as a thumbnail for this one, because I still haven't figured out how to choose my own thumbnail. And from there, we're going to go back into that elevated pigeon. So again, shin across the box, or across the bed, across the sofa, whatever you're using. If you've got a padded dining chair, that'll work. Good. Again, trying to keep your hips low, trying to lean forward into it. Now the next one, again, there's a progression with it. I'll show the easier version in round 1. I'll show the more challenging version in round 2. Another 10 seconds here. Same thing on the other leg, shin comes across the box, drop your hips down into it as low as you can. So you can see there, as I try to drop the hips, my knees start to come up. I'm trying to keep my shin down, so I've got to come a little bit higher. So you want to try and keep as much of this leg, my left leg, in contact with the box as possible. I'm not trying to rock, it's not about getting to the floor, it's about getting the maximum rotation at the hip. From there, easing back up, shake out the legs. So, we're going to come into our first one now, which is our third one rather, third period. So it's going to be a rock back. So, we're going to do about 45 seconds per leg. So, legs straight, out to the side, arms out, and sit back. Do you feel that stretch coming down the inside of the thigh, so a groin stretch. You may feel it a bit higher, a bit lower, but again, we're just going to play with that position. So sit back till you feel that stretch as you go. So I'll show this one from the front. When I swap legs, I'll show you from the side. So again, I've got my right leg straight. For anybody that was here on Wednesday evening, our last session before lockdown 2.0, you might be able to see where I walked into the rowing machine. Okay, coming up on that. So I'll show you the next one from the side. So again, still legs straight on one knee. I'm just trying to sit back so I feel that stretch and come forward. So you notice here, I'm up on my toes, sit back, rock forward. Good. Now the other one, part B of this is where you may need the towel or the yoga block, or in my case the wedge that I've got. Last couple of seconds here. We're going to do a straddle walkover. A straddle walkover. So, I'll use that for the second round to show you what I mean. So we're going to bring us into a straddle position. So again, what we're going to try and do is try and keep hands out in front, and then all I want you to do is just trying to slowly walk from one side to the other and walk back. Just each time trying to keep hands as far out in front as you can. Now again, this is one where I want you to make sure that you keep breathing. I don't want you holding your breath through this. What we're trying to do is just change that stretch. Try and press the back of the knee, the back of the knees, I should say, into the floor. Now if you struggle to lean forward, this is where you might use the wedge, so I'll show you that in the next round. The wedge, rolled up towel, yoga block will just allow you to tilt the hips forward. I'll show you what I mean, like I say, in round number 2. But first, we have got our rock back from a standing position. So this is a slightly more difficult version. We're going to take a wide stance. All we're going to do is come down till we feel that stretch, and then from there, we're going to come across, feel stretch on the other side. Try and stay low. It's just that stretch from side to side each time. Just stay quite low, pressing the whole instep into the floor. So we're not coming into a Cossack squat. We don't want the toes to come up. We want to keep the foot flat as much as possible. Make sure that you do have a good grip. I'm right at the edge of the mat, which is just about perfect, which is good, because if I went any further, I suspect that my socks might not be the best solution to have on the laminate floor. So again, I'm feeling that stretch down the inside of the thigh, shifting across, trying to keep my hips quite low. Now what I can feel, what I can feel is that I want to lift my hips to make it easier, but I want to try and really keep them down as much as possible. So then, lastly, we're going to come back into that straddle walkover. Now if you've got your rolled up towel, your yoga block, you can just plonk that underneath your hips, and that'll allow you to, that'll help you to keep forward. And again, we'll just go into that walkout. This is our last minute on this one. This is good. So again, we just walk forward, keep stretching the whole way through that move, all the way out each time. Make sure again, still trying to press the backs of your knees towards the floor. Also making sure that you're able to keep breathing throughout that movement as you come from side to side. Arc right out. Make sure you're reaching out as far as you can the whole way through the movement, not just here, in and back out. You're trying to reach out as far as possible throughout that move. That's come up on close to a minute, and that is week 1 done. Okay, well done for anybody that's done videos 1, 2 and 3. That's it for videos until Thursday. So if you want to repeat video 1, video 2 and video 3, or you just want to repeat video 2, or you just want to repeat videos 3 and 1, that's fine. Okay, what I want you guys to do, remember this is your challenge, this is how you approach it. The goal is to try and improve your flexibility. I'm not trying to get you to a certain point, I'm just trying to get you better than you were before, because that's my goal for this next 30 days. Let's see where we get to. Okay, so this is him signing off.